Hey, yo, what's up? Back at you with another video. Today we're going to be looking at the Sama Sambit. The last time we saw him, the young dude, he was doing a video saying, did the ANC know about the attack that Hamas was going to launch over on Israel's side at that festival over there? Is it October 6th? I am not really sure. And so in that video, we were looking at Sama Sambit, who he is, what he was saying in that video, how it was written, wondering where his script comes from, and also inquiring whether he is an influencer for AIPAC. This is an organization that is the glue between the United States and Israel, and they collect monies. They are like a US aid, but only for the aiding of the agenda for Israel and the United States in ruling the world. And so with that money that they collect, they pass it on to politicians who are then paid to sing a song, sing a song, sing a song. And there are locals who are said to be bought, who are speaking on behalf of Israel. So I'm here to ask the question, are you an AIPAC influencer? Let's hear how you've come to figure things about the ANC, Hamas, and Israel. How did you get to be on the side of Israel? Strange people who just come out of nowhere. A young boy, 18 years old, like Sama Sambit himself, for example. So we're going to be looking at two videos. It seems like the ghost of the Daily Maverick is haunting my channel. The ghost, it seems, is sending us through an investigative journey here, and this video we're going to watch today together with Sama Sambit's video, the title on it is Inside South Africa's Nano Influencer Campaigns, Politics Meets Paid Promotion. So we were talking about Sama Sambit and his connection to this, and it seems we found a little pot of gold here. We found an example of what the Daily Maverick is speaking about actually in action. Young people, black kids who should be talking about service delivery, who should be protesting for facilities of schools in black townships and colored townships to be improved. But you see them all the way on the other side politicking for Israel, a powerful nation together with its tag team partner, the United States, a young man siding with this country at all costs, a young man that we saw being interviewed by Colonel Chris Wyatt. And you'll remember just the other day, Julius Malema in the press conference, he spoke about the Israel side. He said there's the Musi Maimanis. He even mentioned Bantu Holomisa.
All political parties in South Africa, except the EFF, are white controlled. The same goes to MK, by the way. Yeah, they're white controlled.
Yeah?
So once a motion is put and the Israelis call PA, let's go this way. They call ACDP this way. They call DA this way. Holomisa this way. Bosa, Musi Maimane this way.
And isn't it interesting? Bantu Holomisa, once upon a time, I mentioned him when I was speaking to Colonel Chris Wyatt in a video some time back. Colonel Chris Wyatt, you came as a shock to me. You came as a surprise, really. I wondered who you were, and still, I haven't had a long time to look into you, but I did look at a live interview with you and Ronaldo, a recent one where you mentioned that Bantu Holomisa was on your show and you were having a conversation with him. I had watched a video of him and Ronaldo host, and there they had spoken about Colonel Chris Wyatt's interview of Bantu Holomisa, and I told Colonel Chris Wyatt on the video that, hey, I actually found that intriguing. So Colonel Chris Wyatt would actually respond and tell me that the interview with Bantu Holomisa was not the first. If I can find the comment, it's right there on the screen. So when Julius Malema just the other day mentioned Bantu Holomisa, I remembered that, okay, Sama Sambit got interviewed by Chris Wyatt. Then there was also Aikumalo, whom is currently a coon on the come up, putting in some serious work. And then Bantu Holomisa being interviewed as well by Chris Wyatt. Is this an Israel stable and its black recruits? How many other people out there are being funded and their mouths are being used for agendas that do not belong here, or agendas that are not most essential in this South Africa that should be catering to its people, the poor, the young, the uneducated, the sick, the suffering, the old, the mentally ill, the disabled. But there's so much work being put into other things. And so the thumbnail there shows, Godongwana, and it says a lot of it is simply fake. And we're going to be finding out who are these influencers, what fakery are they putting on, and really, will there be another pointer towards Sama Sambit as the golden boy of this whole experiment? An example of recruiting them young, grooming them, reaching straight, touching a boy, and using him. Do you remember the series Snowfall? Do you remember the star of the show? Is he the protagonist? I believe he is. His name was Franklin Saint, and he got recruited by a CIA called Teddy McDonald, a white guy who knew about the war. Was it in Vietnam, Nicaragua, something like that? And it was being funded with drugs in order to afford weapons and to keep funding the ammunition. There were drugs being sold to black people in Los Angeles, and Franklin Saint was recruited by this Teddy McDonald to do this. So is this a huge mystery? Let's first watch a piece of the Daily Maverick's introduction, and then we'll jump on over to Sama Sambit and then come back and finish this one.
Let's talk about what's actually shaping online political discourse in South Africa right now. And spoiler alert, it's not ideas, policies, or even real people. A lot of it is simply fake. What do I mean by that? Well, what we're seeing on X, formerly Twitter, is an industrial-scale flood of political posts pumped out by armies of nano influencers who are paid to pretend they care. And last month, in April, I tracked at least 5 separate political campaigns being run like this. I'm Rebecca Davis, senior journalist at Daily Maverick.
So we're going to track these nano influencers. As far as we're concerned, it doesn't seem like it's pointing towards YouTubers, Twitter, but we'll see. Maybe there's influencer campaigns ran in other places. Let's quickly get to Sama Sambit then. We'll be back to this. His video is about the Afrikaners leaving currently, and we'll see if he's taking a favorable side, if he's out here trying to diss black South Africans, trying to degrade our blackness because there's an event taking place where Afrikaners are leaving, and he should address that, give an exposition of what that means. But is he gonna springboard on black people, kick them as he supports the white people for his money? Let's see.
So here's the thing. When I first heard about Afrikaner refugees leaving South Africa for the United States of America under a program that allegedly started with the Trump administration, I didn't take it seriously. I legit did not take that seriously and laughed a little bit because of how Donald Trump can be sometimes when he says stuff like that. I thought it was some weird conspiracy theory that was cooked up by some Facebook uncles or a recycled Reddit post meant to stir controversy. But then I started seeing the articles, the news headlines, the applications, Chris Wyatt, the movement, the videos, the testimonies, and then boom, it hits you. This is actually happening.
Oh yeah, you know Chris Wyatt. Glad you are openly mentioning, and your relationship with him is not a secret. People in the comments said that he's grooming you. So you acknowledge him as a friend, as an elder, somebody you aspire to be. You want to be a white American man? Are you into guns? Are you ready to live the glam life? I see you in your thumbnails over there. Go get it, girl.
I'm back. And if I look like an Instagram baddie who hasn't put on her makeup yet, blame the college tests, alright? Because I was night grinding on these textbooks like never before.
What's your relationship with a man of war?
Afrikaners, South Africans, our own people, are leaving the country as refugees. Not tourists, not exchange students, not even permanent residency applicants. Refugees. The word is heavy. It hits different when it's not just someone else in some war-torn zone. It's your neighbors, your friends. The woman who used to teach you Afrikaans at school. The men who used to coach your rugby team on Saturday and Sunday mornings. They are packing up, loading their bakkies, selling off whatever they can, and are heading for the States under refugee status. Let that sink in. Refugee. This whole thing really traces back to something Trump said that people didn't take seriously either. In 2018, he tweeted about the large-scale killing of farmers in South Africa and how land was being taken away from the white farmers. He wasn't lying. The outrage was deafening. South African politicians condemned it. News outlets called it exaggerated, and yet
He wasn't lying. There was a large-scale killing in 2018 when he posted that. Y'all jump in the comments. Or maybe I'll cue here. I think your sister in collaboration in this whole influencer squad you're a part of, she did a video about AfriForum and Solidarity and their appeals to the United States to intervene here, saying it's white people asking for handouts and they are doing it based on lies.
What is true is that we all suffer from fear of crime. We suffer from poor service delivery. I too have been a victim of crime. I am not white. My husband more than twice. The first time they nearly killed him, but he is not white. He also cannot start saying that the South African government is systematically trying to kill him or anyone like him. Lies do no good for any of us or any of our causes. And who is reposting this video? Elon Musk. Elon Musk is very tight with Donald Trump right now. We could see South Africa getting into trouble because of the contribution of people like Ernst Roos, Carly Creel, and their ilk. This is very irresponsible. And for what? To raise some money for your Afrikaner projects? What is the real agenda of spreading lies like these ones? These people would rather destroy racial relations for the sake of one tribe. How pathetic is that? Many South Africans have gone to the US, the UK, Australia, and many other places because of their skills. The economy is one reason. The BEE policy is another reason. Crime is also a major reason. These are issues we can talk about. Why? Because they are true. We wouldn't be lying. These are real issues. All of us are affected by that chaos. That is why I say if we speak with one voice based on the truth, we can go further than these lies here. Yes, we also have characters like the racist Julius Malema and many of his supporters. We have many racist people within the ANC, EFF, and MK party. But let's not act like these people have instituted genocides yet, because they haven't. I think some of them would love for that to happen, but they haven't yet. So let's not lie.
So even Katejo, the crazy, racist, rented mouth, knows that Trump is being a tinfoil head flat earther when he claimed that, and he still is. So you are saying he didn't lie. All right.
Yet behind the chaos, a little-known legal avenue was forming. Several American humanitarian and legal organizations took notice. Conservative think tanks, some Christian refugee programs, and right-wing human rights groups started preparing channels. By 2019, Afrikaners, mostly white South Africans, facing what they claimed was targeted violence and economic discrimination, began applying for asylum, and not just applying, but being accepted. The Biden administration didn't exactly stop the program either. Quietly, it persisted, and as South Africa spiraled deeper into economic mess, corruption and load shedding, and crime, more and more Afrikaners began taking that offer. Now, in this day and age, that once tiny stream has become a small but steady wave. I used to say South Africa was like the mother that eats her children. And I know that sounds dark, especially on Mother's Day, but think about it. Every time someone brilliant, hardworking, or hopeful tries to build something here, they get punished for it. Look at me. They're trying to cancel me. Now let's move forward from where we left off. The point where we talked about how South Africans are becoming refugees.
Hey, yo, who's trying to cancel you, man? Nah, they shouldn't try to do that. You're a good experiment. We are watching something in you, and we need to give you your space, address you from afar like this, but you need to keep on doing what you're doing. You are showing us what is being done. You know, the Bible says, in the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So it says there's an automatic mechanism that kicks off the tongue wagging when the heart is full of something. So because we are beings gifted with communication, no other living creature on earth has the remarkable ability to communicate. It means that whatever agenda one has in their heart and mind, we just need to stand with our arms folded, just looking at your tongue. It's going to say something. So let's go.
In the eyes of the world, not just for economic reasons, but because of real fear, instability, and insecurity. Here is something painful and ironic. The ANC came into power promising a better life for all. That was the slogan: hope, equality, freedom, and prosperity. Now, in this day and age, we are witnessing white Afrikaner families, many of whom were born and raised here for generations, leaving the land they called home to seek asylum in the United States, refugee status. Let that sink in, let that sink in. Not immigration, not for visas, not even investor migration, not work visas, refugee status. That's not something you apply for lightly. That's something you apply for when you genuinely fear for your life, your safety, and your children's future. This isn't paranoia, it's a survival instinct. People are selling their houses for peanuts, packing up whatever's left of their dignity, and flying across the ocean because they feel there is nothing left to fight for here. This situation is a mirror, a painful, cracked mirror, reflecting what we have become as a country. When your own people, regardless of race, feel they need to run to another country for peace, that is not just their problem, that is a societal collapse problem.
Hey, hold up. Notice that this kid, being black, he does his videos and narrates his videos. And in this regard, this example towards Afrikaners, he has been introduced to appealing to the white audience because on YouTube, depending on the audience that you're serving, there's a high-paying market and there's a cheap, low-paying market. And if he speaks like this, so favorably, representing so much, he asks for donations. In the white community, he gets to get some handouts from them. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not trying to crash and kill his hustle or anything like that. It's probably a kid from a poor background. But note that when we are being sold examples of kids who are said to be black excellence, there's so much still lacking. It's just a young dude who has a script and he's just earning his keep, buying his corn, filling his stomach with milli meal. Boy is not excellent. Boy is not great. Boy has not lived long enough to pick up and master a number of skills, to be indeed a jack of all trades who is solid. He has not gone to school like tertiary to go master a particular vertical. Think he's finishing high school or just finished. I don't know. Can't remember. But while they're using him to sell us lies, you find that he himself is really living the lie of being a shining example. If he really thinks of himself to be lifted because there are bots that have been dedicated towards filling his comments with positivity, he's being hailed as the next black president, there's actual Afrikaners who throw in some tips, give him some money so that he can eat. He may become stunted in his growth as he starts to feel like he has achieved, and this is black excellence, being a shill. Straight out of high school, your first job is to be a shill. And while shilling, you're surrounded by people who are telling you that you are black and excellent. He may lose his mind. He may become delusional about himself. So let's just go back to the video.
We are not just losing money to corruption. We are not just losing power through load shedding. We are not just losing doctors and engineers. We are now losing families. Moms, dads, kids, grandparents, all gone. Just like that. And the world is watching. They're reading the headlines. We have a new pope now. He's watching. They're seeing the footage. They're hearing the testimonies. White South Africans flee for their safety. That's the narrative. That is the narrative. That's the image now associated with our nation. Whether you think it's exaggerated or not, it doesn't matter. Perception is power. What started as a controversial murmur during Donald Trump's presidency is now quietly in motion. Back then, Trump made headlines when he mentioned the plan.
He just said, suck it up. If a lie is loud enough, it's enough to get us having a conversation based on a lie. So let's get in. Let's accept the lie and discuss it all day long. He's giving his mind into false realities, and he's inviting us to also do the same. No longer do you need to prove things. Black excellence can sit there and tell you that if a lie is loud enough, then it is the truth. You see the poison that we are being given as black excellence? When you really analyze the kid and what is happening here, I haven't watched this video. I said that he's living a lie, and he just invited us into one. So let's carry on listening.
The plight of white farmers in South Africa. Most of the world brushed it up like, Trump, you know him sometimes. But fast forward a few years, and we now have documented cases of white South Africans being granted asylum in the US because of perceived racial persecution. This isn't just about Trump anymore. It's a real US government process now. Lawyers are representing Afrikaner families. NGOs are facilitating relocation. The wheels are turning. Slowly but surely, and now with every new family that boards a plane, another brick falls from the already cracked foundation of what South Africa once stood for. To those families leaving, I want to say this. It's not your fault, and you didn't fail this country. This country failed you. You did what anyone with half a heart and a full brain would do. Protect your children and put them first. Protect your wife, protect your life. You didn't run because you were cowards. You left because you refused to die silently in a place you once called home. And to the mothers taking this journey on Mother's Day, may God bless your strength. You are warriors, you are survivors. I know this isn't the really best situation you could have come up with, but you're packing passports, comforting the kids, wiping away their tears, and pretending like everything is okay just so that they don't get scared. And that is a God's gift in itself. And I'm with you on that. To all moms heading out with nothing but hope in a suitcase, you are the heroes today. To all moms, happy Mother's Day, and may the next chapter of your life bring you the peace this land failed to give you.
If you didn't watch the video where Colonel Chris Wyatt was giving a teary-eyed commemoration, honor, exaltation, aggrandizement, glory to the Afrikaners heading out to the United States. If you don't know where this kid got this from, cue here video.
It is a day of hope for these folks who will be heading to America, and I wish them very best.
Because it's tough over there. Is Colonel Chris crying? Is he crying?
But it's a very sad day for South Africa. A very sad day.
No, it's a happy day. Extremely happy day.
That it should come to this, that people have to leave their homes, their home country, to move abroad.
They chose to do
To
this
seek a safe haven for their family, for their children, whom they cherish.
because they supported the lie that says they're being persecuted over here. So now you know, this is supposed to be made a moment of mourning. The moment here is pain as we observe our failure. Remember, he said that there is no proof of a genocide, but now that some 40 people have been granted asylum, we have to now honestly look at our South Africa and how we failed. So have an honest introspection based on a lie, a movie that is being painted. You start the accusation, you've got the power to create a refugee program, you've got minions to shout and say that the genocide is actually happening. Some of those minions are Afrikaners and they are remaining here in South Africa currently. Okay, let's not have a look at them. Let's look at the ones who are going, you know? And so now you are playing the minions now who are telling us that it's really happening, guys. It's really happening. It's the truth. Whether you like it or not, look, it's all moving. And so we're supposed to really enter an illusion that says this is indeed true. Ladies and gents, those who know production, those who can set scenes, those who can script a short story, this little story here can be written at the back of a napkin. And these mascots who make it look like we're actually on a continuum, things are happening, we're still at the original place we already were at. We're saying this is a lie. It started as a lie and everything here just continues on a lie. If you depart on a premise that is a lie, you will need lies to continually affirm yourself and the lies that you've already told. Building lies on lies. So you can see what their plan is over here. Sadness, real mourning for a death that didn't actually occur, but you just have to believe it. You're a dumb human being. Those who control the world are in front of you right now, and one of their agents there is spewing their message. Comply.
And to the moms who decided to stay here, black or white, we need to start asking the hard questions, not just about race or privilege or history, but about governance, about failure, about honesty. Because when people start running, you have to ask, who's chasing them? This country was never supposed to end like this.
There's a quote, maybe I'll put it on the screen. It says that those who are evil flee when nobody is chasing them. So we listen.
Our democracy was born with blood and ballots, and now we are bleeding again. But this time it's not on the battlefield, it's at the borders. It's on the plane tickets. It's in the eyes of the children waving goodbye to their friends, wondering why they have to leave their dogs, their toys, their school, their neighborhood, their grandparents. We are losing people, not criminals, not cowards. We are losing citizens. And if we keep pretending it's not happening, then one day there won't be anyone left to pretend. You see, when we talk about Afrikaner refugees leaving for the USA under programs...
Hold up. You remember when Waras was on Penwell showing and he was telling us that we need to hold on to the Afrikaners?
Because we're not achieving anything by coming with an Idi Amin style where he kicked all the Indians out. And he said, the Indians are taking everything, they must go back to India. The place fell apart. Mugabe told the people in Zim, guys, we're taking back the land, go and grab whichever farm you like. You whites, off. Collapse. Collapse. Till this day, it's collapsed. They were begging white farmers to come back and farm.
And so we must beg them not to go because we'll beg them to come back. Waras, who have you been speaking with in the corners? Dan Corder said that there's some dark money going around. There's guys being paid to put certain titles in their content, to go on certain interviews and, give us this Wit Gevaar living. It's the opposite of the Swart Gevaar. The white people are afraid to stay because there's a black danger, and we black people are now supposed to live under the fear of Wit Mense living Gevaar. You're screwing with us, Waras. We need to try to negotiate and pamper them to stay. I'll point to something right quick. On one hand, you're being slapped by racists and Katleho and this whole squad that says you black people who are dependent on handouts, dependent on the state, dependent on white people. And then on the other hand, there's a hand that slaps you into dependence. You need to stand with these people, beg them, accommodate them, suck their... What is the reason why a young man got a gift of speaking for it to be used as poison? Why didn't somebody else get the brains? Why didn't this boy just stay an idiot and be the one who, gets chowed by the sun? Why do intelligent, smartish, I can say intelligence is something quite deep, and this boy doesn't have it. He reads a script. He can speak English. Why did he get the privilege, the ability? Why didn't somebody else? Noble, uncorruptible, not a jackass.
Under programs that sound like they came from a dystopian Netflix docuseries, we can't ignore what's fueling this. Racism, the same old monster wearing new makeup. It's still lurking in the corners of our nation, dressed up in different outfits, but the stench is the same. People pretend like South Africa is this magical land of post-racial harmony just because we hosted a Rugby World Cup, won it the most, and took a few photos holding hands. Rainbow Nation, they said. But let's be honest, a rainbow doesn't last forever, especially when the clouds are still storming over land ownership, wealth distribution, and political blame games. What's happening now? Afrikaners packing their lives into suitcases, looking at cornfields in Iowa or Montana like it's heaven. It's not just about economics. This is fear. It's about fear. Fear rooted in racial tension. Fear that no matter how long their family has lived there, they will never be really safe, never really be heard, and never really be wanted by their own people. Is that a narrative that everyone believes? Of course not. But it's loud enough to echo overseas and get the attention of the United States. Loud enough to create white refugee headlines that make every single South African look like a case study in failed reconciliation.
And pause one more time. While this boy is out here selling himself so cheaply, did you know that the refugee program has now been open to coloreds and Indians? So Ronaldo Host, when he was doing the video, he said that you can claim the crime statistics, you can claim Dubulipunu. Let me cue him over there.
To be eligible for US resettlement consideration, individuals must meet all of the following criteria. Must be of South African nationality, check. Must be of Afrikaner ethnicity or be a member of a racial minority in South Africa. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, colored people, Indian people, and white people can apply for this program.
Blacks.
There we go. Must be
Blacks.
able to articulate a past experience of persecution or fear of future persecution.
What about apartheid?
Julius Malema singing "Kill the Boer, kill the farmer." Politicians threatening people by saying they'll slit the throat of whiteness. Colored and Indian people can obviously refer to the KZN riots. There are so many. You can refer to the murder rate in this country, etc., etc.
Okay.
So individuals who meet all the above criteria and would like...
So, listen here. My colored and Indian friends, you and I, who will play a joke on this dumbass, we will claim that the riots in KZN from way back then are a reason, and we will say the song Kill the Boer also offends you because we know that the American government is stupid like this. They truly are. Ronaldo is reading right there. He's telling us that they are stupid. So we're going to listen to him and do exactly as he says. You heard that, right? So Ronaldo hosts and Chris Wyatt have done videos saying that it's now open to everyone. So this boy crying a river. If a guy can go claim some things on a form that aren't true, in the same way that we don't know what the Afrikaners had to fill. Note that the forms and the prerequisites are hash, 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 hash. What qualified them is not being spoken. There's a black box where the decisions are made. But because they've opened it to coloreds and Indians, we will be filling in some forms with some boys there. And they'll be going to the United States. And let's see if Sama Sambit will be crying a river when Awe Masakent are getting on the plane. You know what I'm saying?
Now, some people will be quick to say, but this is just karma. Or, now they know how it feels, yeah. Nizouzwa. Nifagama specs nizouzwa. But when do we stop trying to balance centuries of pain with modern revenge? And while the ANC tries to look like saints in the global spotlight, their track record of enabling division behind the scenes says otherwise. If it's not for their fiery speeches, it's their policies that punish instead of empower. It's not justice, it's theater. Racism in South Africa isn't always as obvious as slurs or laws. Sometimes it's whispered in hiring rooms or smuggled into school budgets or buried under land reform debates where no one wins but everyone bleeds. So what we are witnessing with this refugee exodus is more than just a migration. It's a mirror, a brutal, ugly...
An exodus, a migration. That's 49 people. 49. They say more are coming. We'll see. But it seems there's an exodus being projected ahead. This should have been it. We are hoping our targets is to see 50,000 gone. So far, it's just 50. So we need 1,000 more of those planes leaving quite soon, very rapidly. So let's let the boy finish.
Reflection of the truth we have all been avoiding. So here we are, Afrikaners packing bags, South Africans packing their bags, mothers saying goodbye, children starting school in a language they barely know because this land, the one where they were born in, stopped feeling like home. That's the reality. That's the heartbreak. That is South Africa in the 21st century. And if that doesn't punch you in the gut, you're either not paying attention or you've numbed yourself to the madness we live in. Let's stop pretending this country is fine. Let's stop acting like we're fixing things while the foundation is rotting right underneath us. It's not just the ANC. It's not just racism. It's not just corruption. It's none of that. It's the silence of the good people. It's the culture of denial, the fear of being called controversial for telling the truth. Well, guess what? I'd rather be controversial than complicit. I'd rather praise Elon Musk while wearing a NASA shirt. Because someone has to say it. South Africa is driving its own people out. And
don't you feel like this boy is just going full diva? You know when a girl is suddenly saying, I'm a bitch, I'm that girl, I'm that trash. You can count on that. I don't care. Sexy Red, getting those vibes from this boy. Lil Nas X, I'll do anything. Satan Shoes, Controversy, it's my name, it's my game. Black excellence, y'all.
And actively tearing this place down while no one is even blinking. And while the elite dine behind their high walls, the rest of us are forced to swallow the slow motion collapse like it's just another day in Africa. To all the mothers leaving with their kids, I salute you. You are not cowards, you are survivors. Because you're doing what the government refuses to. Protect your children's future. I know you didn't want to do it, but you had to. You are holding close to your kids, tightening your grip, waking up, speaking out, because this country doesn't get saved by hashtags and hope alone. It gets saved by the truth, action, and courage. So if you watched this video and you felt something, don't just scroll away. Subscribe, comment, share it with everyone you know, and help me turn on the volume of this movement. They can try to silence us, but they can't unhear what's already been said. This is the Sama Sambit, and like always, I'll see you next time, and happy Mother's Day.
Aish, scamming the mothers. Let's jump over to the Daily Maverick and hear a bit more about this.
I'm Rebecca Davis, senior journalist at Daily Maverick. Take the VAT hike debacle. When Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana scrapped it on 24th April, it seemed clear that the EFF and the DA's court pressure was the final straw. But if you went on X, you'd swear it was all thanks to Action SA. Thank you, Action SA, for stopping the VAT increase, they tweeted over and over again, by the dozens, by the same accounts, often in near identical language. One account, at Tlumelo Mdiza, tweeted about Action SA killing the VAT hike 125 times over 3 days. Now, that's most likely not enthusiasm. That's a job.
Yeah.
Action SA, of course, denies paying anyone to tweet. But when I contacted a micro-influencer posing as a potential client, a very different story emerged.
Oh.
He proudly sent me Action SA tweets as examples of his work and offered me 20 influencers with more than 10,000 followers for just 5,000 rand. Wanted trending topic or just general noise? He had a price for both.
Noise.
And he runs multiple soft puppet accounts to tweet in support of whatever campaign you want. I asked him if he was required
A campaign or noise. If you just want to distract or make up some lies, there's a price for it. Sama Sambit said, what? Help me turn up the noise.
And help me turn on the volume.
I asked him if he was required to disclose that his tweets were paid for. Not a chance, he replied. Quote, only influencers know it's a paid gig, he said. Not everyone knows what's really going on X. According to researchers at Murmur Intelligence, who've been tracking this trend for a while, political parties don't usually deal with the influencers directly. They go through agencies.
Yeah.
Those agencies brief big influencers who then subcontract to micro and nano influencers. 50 Rand to 250 Rand per post is the going rate. Cash via e-wallet. But the danger here is that you, as the average X user, have no idea that the expressions of political solidarity you're seeing are simply fake.
Yes.
Users trust the content the influencers share, Murmur's researchers have warned in the past, unaware that much of it is part of carefully crafted paid campaigns.
Yes.
This isn't free speech, it's paid noise. Now, Action SA isn't the only party playing this game. Let's talk about the Deputy President, Paul Mashatile. On the 22nd of April, Mashatile reportedly soft-launched his campaign for the ANC leadership in Soweto. Supporters came out carrying signs saying Mashatile Itemba Letu, or Mashatile Our Hope. That same day, Mashatile Itemba Letu magically trended on X. But it wasn't magic. Neither was it a spontaneous eruption of high-volume digital admiration for Mashatile. It bore all the signs of a textbook operation. Murmur found a tightly linked network of buzzers, that's what they call accounts whose only job is to repost specific users over and over again. One account tweeted about Mashatile 59 times that day alone. Mashatile's spokesperson, of course, said there's no campaign because the ANC officially frowns on this kind of early campaigning, and hence no need to pay influencers. But here's where it gets really interesting. Those same accounts hyping up Mashatile, they were also posting about 3 other ANC politicians. Limpopo Provincial Secretary Ruben Madadze, Limpopo MEC Tony Rachuene, and ANC Youth League leader Colin Malachi.
Yes.
Now, all 3 have faced recent corruption or misconduct allegations. And yet, on X, they're portrayed as selfless visionaries revolutionizing governance.
Selfless visionaries revolutionizing government, ladies and gentlemen. So if you can make criminals, the corrupt, look like saints, really you can make racists look like victims, right?
Some very, very unnatural sounding tweets. One wrote of Ruben Madadze, quote, "Between the scenes of Limpopo's growing political cohesion is a humble but firm force. He doesn't need the spotlight, but his impact is unmistakable." Here's another example, this time about Tony Rachuene. Public infrastructure can't be planned in isolation. I think that's why NEC for Limpopo Public Works Tony Rachuene launched Stakeholder Tuesdays to align government plans with community priorities and get everyone working together. And it's not just politicians. Even embattled state executives are being digitally rebranded. Road Accident Fund CEO Collins Letsualo, currently under SIU investigation for a dodgy 79 million rand lease, is being praised on X with hashtags like #defend Collins Letsualo. Tweets defending him flooded the platform on 29th of April, all parroting the same lines. The RAF denies paying for any of it. Letsualo is apparently just that popular. The big question here is, what could the real-world political impact of this all be? Well, last December, we got a taste of what the answer to that might be in Romania. There, a far-right candidate called Călin Georgescu won a shocking victory in the first round of their elections. Georgescu was an unknown before the polls, and yet suddenly went viral on TikTok weeks before the elections and ended up winning the vote. How did he do it? By hiring influencers who were paid to post positive content about him to boost his profile. TikTok eventually uncovered 27,000 inauthentic accounts posting about the Romanian elections in the lead-up to the elections. The end result was that the election result was annulled, as in cancelled. And Romania has now had to run those elections again from scratch. That's a real cautionary tale about the times we are living in. South Africans deserve real debate, not bot armies. But the political battlefield is no longer town halls or televised debates. It's your social media feed. And in 2025, it's being bought, tweet by tweet. So the next time you see a random X user suddenly tweeting 40 times in a day about how great a political politician is, maybe ask, is that democracy or just 250 Rand via e-wallet?
The world of the Sama Sambits. Give me some money and I'll say whatever. I got no shame. The Wolf of Wall Street, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you like, hope you comment, hope you share, and you subscribe. And I'll be seeing you next time.